Big news for Las Vegas Raiders fans. Something serious is happening inside the Raiders camp. Star left tackle Colton Miller is officially holding out. Yes, he's not showing up because he wants a new contract. Now, let's break it down. The Raiders were recently looking at a top young tackle, Armon Mabay from Missouri, with their 6th overall draft pick. At first, this felt random, but now it makes sense. Could they be planning for life without Colton Miller? According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Miller is not attending the team's voluntary off-season program. That's not a huge problem on its own. About 20 other players aren't showing up either. But here's what makes it interesting. This news came directly from Colton Miller's agents. So why would his team leak this news? Simple. They want to put pressure on the Raiders. They're clearly not happy that no contract talks have started yet. Even though Miller is a key player and a 7-year starter, he becomes a free agent in 2026, and his team wants answers now. Before we jump into more updates, before listening to the latest news, subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Let's move on to the new news. Back to the story. This kind of public pressure isn't by accident. His agents likely already tried reaching out to the Raiders' new GM, John Spytek, and didn't get the answer they wanted. So now, they're turning up the heat, and fans, they're watching closely. Because if Colton Miller doesn't get a deal soon, the Raiders might be forced to make a huge decision. Colton Miller isn't just any player. He's one of the best tackles in the entire NFL, and many fans believe he might be the top offensive player on the Raiders right now. His experience, size, and skills make him a huge part of the team. But here's the tricky part. Miller turns 30 this year, and the Raiders know they have to start thinking ahead. They don't just need to fix the right tackle spot, they also need a solid plan for the future of the left tackle position too. One smart strategy could be to draft a right tackle now, train him well, and later move him to left tackle when it's time to say goodbye to Miller. That's the same method used by the Buccaneers when John Spytek was there. They brought in Tristan Wirfs, who moved between positions and eventually became a star. The Raiders could easily do something similar to find their next big protector. Now, remember, this part of the offseason is voluntary, so Miller doesn't have to be there. But the fact that his agents are leaking news about him wanting a new contract, that's not just random. It's a warning sign. If nothing changes, this holdout could stretch into training camp, and that's when things get serious. Miller's message is clear. He wants a new contract. And here's the key. His current deal has no guaranteed money left. That means if something goes wrong this season, he's not protected. He's played hard for the Raiders for years, and now he wants the team to show some long-term commitment in return. If the front office doesn't act fast, they might risk losing one of the most important pieces on the entire team. Let's look at the numbers behind Colton Miller's situation. Right now, if the Raiders wanted to release him during or after training camp, they could do it. It would cost them about $3.3 million in dead cap, which comes from a past signing bonus. But beyond that, there's no guaranteed money left in his contract. Miller is set to earn $15.6 million this season, but here's the problem. That number is way below what a top-tier left tackle usually makes. Players at his level are now getting between $20 to $22 million per year. That's a big gap. The Raiders have a smart option here. They can give Miller a little more guaranteed money now and also lock him in for another 2 or 3 years. It would show trust, keep a key player happy, and secure the offensive line. Now, let's talk about why Miller is so valuable. When he entered the NFL, Miller stood out for being quick, athletic, and smooth in movement. Not every lineman has that. Players who are stiff or slow often fall apart by their 8th or 10th year. But not Miller. His body still moves like it did years ago, and that's rare. Even today, he's more agile than some young rookies entering the league. Because of his athleticism, Miller's career can easily stretch through age 30, 31, or even 32 without a major drop in performance. That kind of consistency is gold for a team like the Raiders, especially when building a solid offensive unit. Now, if Miller ever demands something crazy, like $26 million a year, The Raiders might have to consider other options like a trade. But realistically, that's unlikely. His last deal wasn't even close to that. Right now, the smart move is simple. Keep Colton Miller in silver and black. He's earned it, and the Raiders need him more than ever. Let's talk about the market value and what the Raiders might be thinking behind the scenes. In today's NFL, the price for top offensive tackles is skyrocketing. Just look around. Some linemen are now earning $28 to $30 million a year. Compared to that, Colton Miller asking for $20 to $22 million doesn't sound unreasonable at all, especially for a team like the Raiders who benefit from no state income tax in Las Vegas, which means Miller keeps more of his paycheck. But here's the twist. What if the Raiders decide they don't want to pay him? If new GM John Spytek believes that $20 million is too much for a 30-year-old left tackle, then trade talks could be on the table. But even then, the Raiders should be smart about it. Miller isn't just any player. You'd want at least a first-round pick in return. That said, teams around the league might hesitate. He's still very good, possibly in the top 12 to 15 tackles in the game, but at his age, and with a new contract on the horizon, don't expect teams to offer multiple first-round picks. One late first-rounder? Maybe. And honestly, that might be fair value. Now, let's talk about Miller's performance. Yes, some people say he took a step back last season, but there's more to the story. He had shoulder surgery before the season and missed training camp and preseason. He came in cold and started week 1 without much preparation. Most of the sacks he gave up, 5 in total, happened in those first few weeks when he was still recovering. And let's not ignore the good stuff. Miller remains one of the strongest run blockers in the NFL. He's big, physical, and pushes defenders back with ease. Pass protection hasn't always been perfect, but overall, he still gets the job done. The real question is, do the Raiders stick with their veteran star or prepare for life without him? Let's talk facts. Colton Miller might have had a slow start last season, but once he got healthy, he was a wall on that offensive line. After the first few games, he allowed just 1 sack the rest of the season. That's impressive. On film, he looked sharp, strong, and steady. The kind of player every team needs protecting the quarterback's blind side. Now, here's where it gets tricky. If the Raiders actually think about replacing Miller, it's not just about money. It's about who steps up next. Some fans have suggested Thayer Munford as the replacement. Sure, he played left tackle before, but let's be real. He's not built for that job full-time. He's too slow off the snap and struggles with quick edge rushers. You'd constantly need to give him help, chipping, double teams, and that hurts the offense overall. So, what are the options? The Raiders do have DJ Glaze, who could stick to right tackle. He's young, and he has potential. Then there's Armand Moe, a top draft pick. You could try him on the left or right, depending on how you want to build the line. But here's the catch. You're betting on 2 unproven players. DJ Glaze was a third-round pick for a reason. He's not a sure thing. Some scouts even believed he might be better suited at guard. That's a big gamble if you're replacing someone as reliable as Miller. So what makes the most sense? Keep Colton Miller. Extend his contract. Draft Armand Moe with the 6th pick. Lock down both tackle spots. Then slide Glaze inside to guard, where he might thrive. The setup gives you strength, depth, and stability for the next 3 to 5 years. Smart teams don't just build for today, they build for the future. And keeping Miller around might just be the smartest move the Raiders can make right now. If the Raiders want to build a powerhouse offense, it starts with one thing: a dominant offensive line. And right now, that vision is within reach. Imagine this: Colton Miller extended, Armand Moe starting at right tackle. DJ Glaze moved inside to left guard. That trio alone gives Las Vegas a strong foundation. And if guys like Kappa or Parham step up at right guard and Jackson Powers-Johnson locks down the center spot, you're suddenly staring at a top-tier offensive line, maybe even top 5 in the NFL. That's the kind of strength that wins games in the trenches. Let's be honest, offensive line isn't flashy. It doesn't get highlight reels or jersey sales. But it's where championships are built. Smart teams invest in their linemen, and when you do it right, the results speak for themselves. With the pieces the Raiders already have, they don't need to chase stars. They need to build smart. Keep Miller, start Mo. Shift Glaze to guard, where his power and size give him real Pro Bowl potential. This strategy gives Las Vegas not only a wall of protection, but also a run game that can dominate. The best part? Most of these guys are still young. If developed properly, this unit could hold strong for years. No more getting pushed around in the trenches. It's time for the Raiders to push back and take control of the line of scrimmage every single week. The Las Vegas Raiders have made some bold moves in the draft, but not all of them have paid off. Remember Alex Leatherwood? That first-round pick in 2021 was a swing and a miss. While other teams picked up proven talent like Christian Darrisaw, the Raiders rolled the dice, and it backfired. That decision still echoes through the offensive line today. And then there's Tyree Wilson, a pick that, in hindsight, doesn't look great, especially when players like Jalen Carter and Darnell Wright were still on the board. These moments matter because the draft isn't just about talent. It's about choosing the right talent for long-term success. But the Raiders have a chance to turn the page. One name that keeps popping up for all the right reasons? Armand Mio. He's not just a solid prospect. He looks like a future top 10 offensive lineman. Smart franchises don't pass on that kind of potential. This is the kind of investment the Raiders must make if they want to protect their quarterback and take command at the line of scrimmage. After all, it doesn't matter who's under center if the pocket collapses in 2 seconds. The blueprint is simple. Learn from the past, draft wisely, and build an offensive line that finally lives up to its potential. The Raiders have the opportunity. Now it's time to make the right move. The Raiders are standing at a crossroads, and one decision could shape the future of this team's offensive line. Colton Miller, a name that doesn't get the spotlight, but quietly holds this unit together. There's been some noise about trading him. But let's be real, that would be a massive mistake. You don't trade away one of your most reliable offensive tackles unless you have someone better waiting, and the Raiders don't. Miller isn't going to cost you $28 million like some of the top-tier guys. He'll be closer to $22 million. And here's why that matters. He's still playing like a top 10 left tackle. That $6 million in savings can go toward building other parts of this roster. It's called smart cap management. You can't fill every position with a superstar like Max Crosby, but you can build a winning team by locking in dependable talent, like Miller, who shows up every snap and holds his ground. Trying to replace him with a rookie or gamble on development? That's a dangerous move in a division loaded with pass rushers. If the Raiders want to protect their quarterback, give the run game a chance and build long-term success. Extending Colton Miller is the clearest answer on the table. This isn't about just keeping a player. It's about keeping stability, leadership, and production right where it belongs, on the left side of the line in silver and black.